Uber on Thursday urges the Philippine government to simplify accreditation processes and let go of its ancient rules. Uber policy head Yves Gonzalez says the Land Transportation, Franchising and Regulatory Board should stop imposing antiquated regulations on technological innovation. Gonzalez says, quote, "We are not adverse to regulation. What we are asking for is the right regulation and right process. We cannot impose 1900s level of regulations. There were no smartphones, internet, ride-sharing then. None of today's technological innovations." He also hit the LTFRB for its, quote, "inefficient processes." Senator Bam Aquino says some policies should be changed to make taxi operators competitive, while some should be created to limit ride-hailing companies. Aquino says, quote, "The focus should be on what we can limit for the TNCs and how we can make taxi operators more competitive. They essentially offer the same service. Let's not fool each other here. It's the same." Senator Grace Poe also asks the LTFRB to level up its system and ways, adding the agency should be able to regulate without stifling the market. The Philippine National Police says autopsy results show Ozamiz City Mayor Reynaldo Parojinog and his group fought back during the drug raid last Sunday that left the mayor and 14 others dead. Families of 8 of 15 dead consented to conduct autopsies, including the Parojinogs, while families of the other 7 refused. The PNP says the mayor tested positive for paraffin, with police tracing gunpowder from his body. He died from 2 gunshot wounds, 1 to the head and 1 to the chest. The others also tested positive for paraffin, with traces of gunpowder found on their bodies. Malacanang says President Rodrigo Duterte is not likely to meddle with the impeachment complaint against Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno. But Presidential Communications Assistant Secretary Marie Banaag says, quote, "Respecting the complaint does not mean Duterte supports the impeachment." Banaag says, quote, "We respect if and when a civilian would file a complaint against an impeachable officer. That is up to them because that is within the bounds of the law." 2 pro-Duterte groups earlier filed separate impeachment complaints against Sereno before the House Secretary General. No lawmaker has endorsed the complaints as of Thursday. The Office of the Ombudsman charges former Vice President Jejomar Binay and his son, former Makati City Mayor Junjun Binay, with graft and falsification of documents over irregularities in the construction of the Makati Science High School building. Ombudsman Conchita Carpio Morales approved the indictment for 4 counts of graft and 3 counts of falsification of documents against the Binays. The 10-story building cost the Makati City government 1.3 billion pesos, but Binay's ally turned rival, Renato Bondal, said the building was overpriced by around 862 million pesos. Bondal filed a plunder complaint before the Ombudsman in 2014 in connection with alleged overpricing, accusing the Binays and other officials of pocketing the difference. But Morales says only graft charges were ordered against the Binays because the offenses found were irregularities in the processes and not conspiracy to amass ill-gotten wealth. The Binay camp says the indictment was yet another selective prosecution on the part of Morales. United States President Donald Trump reluctantly signs off on new sanctions against Russia Wednesday, bowing to domestic pressure and putting efforts to improve ties with the Kremlin in peril. Trump signs the legislation behind closed doors after failed White House efforts to water down the bill. Trump's reluctance was on full display in a statement in which he called the legislation significantly flawed. Trump says, quote, "In its haste to pass this legislation, the Congress included a number of clearly unconstitutional provisions." He adds, quote, "I built a truly great company worth many billions of dollars. That is a big part of the reason I was elected. As president, I can make far better deals with foreign countries than Congress." The sanctions seek to penalize the Kremlin for allegedly meddling in the 2016 US presidential election and Russia's annexation of Crimea. The legislation, which also includes measures against North Korea and Iran, targets the Russian energy sector, giving Washington the ability to sanction companies involved in developing Russian pipelines and placing curbs on some Russian weapons exporters. It also notably constrains Trump's ability to waive the penalties.